Hola chicos, hey guys, welcome to Dìmelo Cantando con Isabella Chapini. I'm coming to you from the UCFM studio, situated in Ngunnawal country, a show where we talk about everything Latin American. This episode, we have two very special guests, Maya.
Hey.
And Rico.
Hey.
How are you guys doing?
We're good.
Great.
Good. How was the trip here?
Very long.
We made it. That's what matters.
Yeah, that's what matters.
Exactly. So we are all exchange students here. So Maya and I are from the United States. We are from Orlando, Florida. Woo!
Yeah.
From UCF. And you're from Vienna, right?
Right, yeah. So I do my bachelor's in Vienna.
Okay. And so did you go there for uni?
Yeah, I'm born and raised in Bogota. Probably that will come up. But then when I graduated from school, I just went directly to Vienna to learn German because I needed for my bachelor's. And then did the visa process, which was a story of its own.
It always is, isn't it?
Yeah, but yeah, so I'm just doing my bachelor's in Vienna, and I just came for this one semester for the exchange. Yeah, so far so good.
So you need German?
Yeah.
For what?
So the reason I chose Vienna was because similar to Germany, the education is quite good.
Mm-hmm.
But the only compromise is that you have to learn German, at least for the bachelor's. The master's, there are more that are as cheap as most of the education there, but they're in English. But the bachelor's, any good computer science bachelor is going to be in German, but you would have to pay roughly just 700 per semester, so it's quite good in comparison.
Oh, wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. It was worth it. Who knew if it was going to work, but I just went into it, and
yeah,
I guess it worked.
And you learned English when?
In school. So probably if you talk to my friends, you will notice that there was a difference in interest on the language, because not all of them are very proficient, but the school was definitely one of the best ones in Bogota, at least when it comes to English. But yeah, there was definitely a specific interest on having a good accent and stuff. At this point, I let it go. I let go of the ego. That's why you can hear a little bit of my accent. But
you have really good English, though, I would say.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I appreciate it. But yeah, no, it was mostly in school, and then bunch of movies, bunch of books.
Mm-hmm.
Just consuming as much English as I could, and getting comfortable with it.
Yeah, I actually talked about this in the last episode, but I feel like learning a new language through music, through movies, that's how I learned English, was just through the radio.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah. And then also being forced to just be in school with a bunch of Americans, and I was like, oh, okay, I really have to learn this or I will not survive here. So
when did you start, actually?
I moved when I was like 7 or 8 in 2011.
Okay.
And I was in first grade.
Yeah,
so,
must have been a challenge.
Yeah. And I moved like halfway through the year too, so everyone was like, who is this person that just like randomly came in that does not speak English? But it was actually not that bad. Like, I learned it pretty quickly because I had to, and also because I was young.
Yeah.
So it was a lot easier.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
I feel like when you're a kid, you have like a lot of audacity.
Yeah, no, 100%. You have like no ego. Like, you're like, I can mess up.
Should I tell my story?
Yes, please.
I could see your face. You were waiting. I feel like I don't have a whole lot of the like learning English experience because I came to, the United States and Canada like very, very young.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's where the audacity comes in. Apparently, when I was really, really little, we came to we started off in Florida, and it was like we went to the park and there were these kids.
I love this story so much.
You guys are both waiting for this. There were these kids playing in the park, and I didn't know English yet, but I also I don't think I realized that other languages exist. Like, give me a break. Right? So I just kind of was at the park, and I was like, oh, these kids are speaking gibberish. Like, they're playing a gibberish game. So I just kind of ran up to them, and I was like,
Is
So,
that how
you know, that
English
was,
sounds to you?
yeah, English from young children, absolutely. So I was just kind of like, hey, Mom, why do these kids not like me? She was too busy laughing.
Dang, she didn't even tell you.
I didn't hear this story until like years later. She was like, you know what you did when we came to this country? Yeah. I've always been quite bold.
Yeah, I love that for you. I think those kids probably like remember that too.
You know, I hope they do.
That's so good.
But at that point, do you communicate with your parents in Spanish or? Okay, fair enough.
Yeah, in like baby Spanish.
Yeah,
you
yeah,
know.
fair enough.
Baby
fair enough.
Spanish.
Mama Walmart, you know,
Yeah.
type Spanish.
Yeah. So how have you guys been finding exchange? I mean, you guys are both from ANU. I'm from UC. But like how are you guys liking it?
So I have a great point of comparison because for me, Vienna, although it's my home university, it's still kind of an exchange because it's not where I grew up. It's not where all of my expectations of university were developed.
Yeah.
So that was a culture shock of its own, but that point of comparison makes me so much more grateful to what I've seen here in Australia. Because, as I told you, it's a great opportunity to study in Vienna, especially financially. You don't have to get in a massive debt to have some good some good education and stuff. But it's definitely not as welcoming as Australians.
Really?
And as a university, the amount of resources you get from the university is polarly opposite. Like in Vienna, you're almost entirely by your own. You barely get like the exams and the tasks, but aside from that, you're entirely by yourself.
Wow.
So yeah, coming here to the ANU, seeing all of the resources, everybody trying to make you feel like at home, all this student well-being, like movement is just absolutely great. It makes it seem as all of the money, like the high tuition fees are actually worth it.
Yeah.
Well,
Wait, so what was it like going from a country like Colombia and then going to Austria? Like, I feel like that's like a very different kind of culture.
Yeah, no, it definitely is. It took a lot of denial, I guess, or sort of pushing.
cope.
Yeah, coping. It took a lot of coping because at the beginning, I just really didn't try to give this narrative that there was a big change of my life and that now I had to sort of adapt. No, I tried to see it as a natural thing that would happen as long as I would keep moving and keep like doing whatever I had to do. But eventually, I did realize that had some consequences because I never ended up like really changing entirely. Like I still quite attached to Colombia because I never had that moment of, okay, this is now my life. I just sort of thought it was a part of it. But I met some nice people, which always helps. But I don't know if I should go this deep, but a big influence was that I had a long distance relationship. And that also prevented me a lot from actually developing a life in Europe. And that meant that also it was my own fault that I didn't get to like connected with the culture because I wasn't meeting that many people. I was just staying at home, going to the German classes and talking with my ex-girlfriend on the other side of the world. So I guess there can be very different experiences depending on what your circumstances are. But for me, the first couple of years was just mostly seeing everything as a means to an end. Like just...
Yeah. I feel like it's really hard to adapt somewhere, especially because I don't know, from what I've heard in Vienna, it's like people aren't that like open, that welcoming. And I feel like coming from like a Latin country, I feel like that's just like, ooh, okay, I'd rather just like stick with, you know, what I'm familiar with or whatever.
Though to be fair, there were already certain preconceptions of how Europe would be.
Yeah.
Like when you're back home, everybody will tell you that they're much colder, so don't expect them to be like as open as we are and stuff. So I wasn't like entirely shocked by how people were. Only thing is, of course, eventually you're like, oh, what a shame. I wish that they would be a bit more open. But as I tell you, I think a big chunk of why it went how it went was my fault as well for not trying too hard. So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I don't know. But, like, it's been better here, right? Like, yeah.
By far. Here, you don't even have to try to meet people. In the first 2 weeks I was here, I met, like, at least 50 people.
Mm-hmm.
They would just talk to you. They would come to you. They would be interested on you. I don't know if the exoticness of coming from another continent plays a role, but they really seem to care about it or to be interested, which is not always the case, because I would understand if they just had their own stuff to deal with, or simply they were in their comfort zone, so they wouldn't need to talk to new people.
Yeah.
Also, a big difference with Vienna is at the beginning, I wouldn't speak German, so it would be, of course, they would have to go an extra step to speak with me. So they would have to speak in a language that is not theirs.
Yeah.
And do the effort of being interested in stuff. Here is the same language, so I guess it's a bit easier. But yeah, definitely you can see the difference of disposition or like openness.
Yeah, and like going back to like, I guess, resources or like the school, I guess, making it easier for you guys to meet people and whatever. You guys had some sort of orientation thing for exchange? Yeah, like a call? Because you guys met through
Yes. Yeah, we had, so all of the exchange students had like info sessions beforehand, and then from there somebody made like a group chat. And so before the semester even got started, we had a group chat of all of the students that would be there on exchange, or most of them.
Actually, was it you that made it, or was somebody else?
I somehow was admin. I did not make it. But I was I remember. It's because it was a group chat at first, and somebody was like, this would be a lot easier if it was a community. We can make sub-group chats and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I know how to do it, but I have to be admin. So someone gave me admin.
Oh, okay.
And that's why. And you thought that.
Yeah, I thought you actually worked for the ANU.
Damn.
Okay, Maya.
Yeah. No, I remember when I was looking like for some information, I just looked for the admin, and I was like, okay, let's contact her directly.
You asked me a question. That's why we're friends.
Yeah.
And I remember I was like, I took so long to respond to you too. I felt so bad.
But
I was like,
that's a very Maya.
It is a very. It's a very me thing. Maya, actually, did you see when you texted me that like my bio on WhatsApp literally says like, I probably won't answer you? That was from years ago, but I never regretted that more than in that moment, because I was like, oh my god, I actually did it. Like, I probably look so mean.
So I texted you that you had that on your status, and that's why.
No, you texted me. I didn't know if you noticed that I had that as my bio, so I was like, oh, that looks so bad.
No, I didn't. I didn't notice at the beginning, but probably even then I would have texted you just for.
Actually, you like asked me if we could make a Latino group chat. That was the first thing you texted, right?
Yeah. I think that was it.
Yeah, we made like a subgroup for Latino students.
Yeah. And how did that go?
Interesting. No, like I assumed, like, a lot of people told me that there were a big Latino community in Australia. Definitely bigger than in Vienna or in Europe. I mean, some countries of Europe, but I assumed that for the exchange there would be as well quite a couple.
There were like 8 people at first.
Yeah.
Really?
There weren't that many Latinos as I thought, but of course there's also the Spanish people that speak the same language, so often they'll join the Latino groups, also because we mostly listen to the same music, and we mostly have very similar, a lot of things in common. But at that point, I didn't have any expectations of it. I just wanted, even people that were just interested in Latino culture were more than welcome to join. But for the most part, it was just like people with whom I could play music that they would like, and also just like have a support group with whom I could already had something in common.
Yeah.
I think the Italians joined as well.
Did they?
Yeah.
So I know that they're hanging a lot with the Spanish group. I've also hang around with a bit, but I don't know if they're in the group. Maybe. At this point, I'm really disconnected from that group.
Yeah. Anyways, we got outnumbered.
Yeah.
It is now called Hispanohablantes.
That's so funny.
At the beginning, what was it? Was it
Latinos? It was Latinos.
Yeah, Latinos.
In ANU.
Yeah.
I think it's funny. Okay, so for context, I don't know. Like, I think it's just for fun. Like, I don't think people actually think that. I mean, sometimes I think this because I went to Spain and I had certain experiences. But, like, there's this kind of weird thing where it's like, oh, you know, like the Spanish, like they're the colonizers, whatever. And like not just that, but it's like sometimes I won't even lie. I'm not gonna like sit here and like generalize, but I feel like sometimes Spanish people can be a little rude to Latin people. Like they'll hear your accent and immediately act different towards you. Like it happened to me in Spain, and then also like I met other Latinos in Spain, and all of them just looked so unhappy. So I don't know. I have like this weird like, oh my god, whatever. But yeah, I thought it was funny because like Maya told me, oh yeah, we got outnumbered and now it's called Hispanohablantes, and I thought that was really funny.
Yeah. No,
they came and conquered the group chat as well. Yeah.
The paradox. Yeah, no, usually I would have probably said something about it or fight back, but at that point, it was indeed many more Spanish people than actual Latinos. I would have thought, okay, just make your own group, but it was like four Latinos. So.
No, yeah. And also it's like, you know, like you said, you know, like they listen to the same things.
Yeah, I mean,
they kind of act similar, so it makes sense. I
mean, getting to know them a bit better, they're not as close as I would have thought, but it's also a matter of luck. Like to the point that you say about their interaction with Latinos, there's definitely people that have their own preconceptions and that will act differently, but it's definitely like I have fall in the mistake of actually generalizing sometimes, but I do not believe that. Like I don't believe that all Spanish have preconceptions about Latinos and that they treat us differently. Some of my closest friends are Spanish.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are some more emotional and irrational perceptions I used to have about Spanish people. But yeah, no, definitely there are some that are lovely with us and that actually simply embrace that connections that we have culturally. So as long as that's the case, I didn't mind whatever name it would be. But yeah,
it's all fun and games. It's funny. It's a joke.
It's all fun and games indeed.
So yeah, talk a little bit more about the Dominican Republic or like Colombia, like whatever you guys want. What's the food like, the culture, the people, all that.
Oh, I want to say, okay, one thing about Dominican culture that I feel like I haven't really found replicated anywhere else is like, it's like, I feel like Dominicans, maybe this is like an island thing or
y'all
I
are
don't
so
know.
funny.
We're funny as fuck. Yeah. Thank you. But it's like, I don't know if it's like an island thing, but I just feel like anyone that you come across on the street or like whatever, you could give them shit like they're your, oh, am I not allowed to curse? Sorry.
You're good. Just keep going.
You could like, you know, talk a bunch of mess.
Yeah.
To anyone, like as if you're siblings, you know, and it's just like this immediate like friendly sort of banter situation that goes on. And it's like I found other places where people are friendly, people are very polite, or people can like share a laugh with a stranger, but it's not like the same. And I feel like the sense of humor is something that I want to carry with me like a lot, because you'll see like, oh my god, I see like when a hurricane passes through, I open TikTok and it's people in like their flooded homes with like a mop like, come on, like we got chores to do.
Oh my god, have you seen, this is so, I don't know if Rico's gonna understand, because like basically this is like a very Floridian thing where like you have shutters like for your for your
shutters,
so like for your windows. And there was this one meme that my dad sent in the family group chat that was like, acabo de poner los chores. But it's literally, so the translation is like, I just put up the shutters, but they say chores, which is literally like shorts, and it's literally like just shorts being hung up on top of like the window. I literally was dying. I saved it. I usually don't save the memes that my family sends in the family group chat, but that was so good. I still laugh at it.
I think family group chats are also low-key a Latin thing. Maybe not Latin, but like immigrant thing.
Yeah, on WhatsApp too.
Yes.
Like, do you guys use WhatsApp?
Yeah.
We do.
I remember when we went to college, we had like an orientation group, and a lot of the kids in the group, like they were American, like generationally. And so my first thought is, hey, let's make a WhatsApp group chat, because that's where I mean, first of all, that's where our exchange chat is. But it's like, that's where I feel like it makes the most sense to have a large group of, and there were some people that were like, what's WhatsApp? Oh, the WhatsApp stickers.
Yes.
They be good.
Yeah. They be good. They do be. Yeah. No, literally, like, I feel like you can't have, like, how can you have a group chat on iMessage?
I have no clue, actually. I don't use it at all.
Yeah,
I think
it's
that's
like-
more of a States thing.
Yeah. I don't
Right.
know. It's just, that's so lame. Like,
Maybe.
I feel like, oh my God, just.
In Vienna, do they not use iMessage?
I haven't met a person. Like, the only big change of WhatsApp that there was like when Meta or Facebook like changed their policies of privacy, and then a lot of people look for a more private alternative, and they went towards Telegram and
Mm-hmm.
any others. But the rest of the time, I haven't met anybody that actually has like WhatsApp and another one. Everybody just, at least in Colombia and in Vienna.
That's interesting. I thought it was
Yeah.
like, actually, no, I feel like I heard from this one girl that's Israeli that she also uses WhatsApp. So maybe it's not just a Latin thing. I feel like it's just like
Everywhere
you-
but the States.
Right.
So it's another one of those.
and here too. I feel like people
what
don't
is
use
a kilometer?
What do you? No, it's what's a mile. We're the outsiders here.
No, I'm trying
Yeah,
to quote
yeah.
a TikTok. But
Okay,
I,
I'm
you know,
sorry.
I'm
So
trying to-
Maya
I'm
has a
trying to be
lot
clean.
of references to TikToks
I
that I
s-
have not watched. Yeah.
The listeners will know.
Yeah.
Y'all got me.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. What else is there about Dominican Republic or Colombia that's very typical? Because so I was watching this one Venezuelan comedian called George Harris. It's so funny. He has such a white name, but he's so Venezuelan. But anyway, he was talking about how he loves the Dominican Republic, because like the people there are just lovely, you know, which we knew already. But he was talking about how it was really funny that when he got there, that people told him like, if you see a car slow down and stop and like pull over next to you, you're not gonna get kidnapped. Like, it's not a kidnapping. He says that people apparently, they'll like be like blasting music and they'll have the craziest urge to dance that they'll literally pull over, get out of the car, dance for a little bit, and then get back in. Like, it's like literally like this like overwhelming need to dance, and I feel like that is so real.
Yeah.
I feel like I want to do that all the time.
Yeah.
But I feel like doing it in Orlando is not only dangerous because like like, you know,
nobody can drive. First
yeah,
of all.
exactly. But yeah.
I like definitely feel like that's a strong it's a strong part of the culture. And it's like growing up outside of like the motherland and whatever, and coming to Australia as well, where there's even less, because at least in Florida there's a lot
Right.
of Hispanic and Latino
Especially where
people.
we lived. Yeah.
But especially coming to Australia, I have noticed it's actually been a noticeably difficult time for me
Yeah.
to like just sit down regularly and not start like dancing in a social setting.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to Rico, you probably ended up doing something like this, no, on that one road trip.
What? Yeah, like pulling over
Yeah.
and just dancing. No, I would just do it in the car. Like, I was sort of not entirely standing up and dancing, but just going
Yeah.
crazy. In the
I do it
car.
in my car too. Like, sometimes I'll put reggaeton and I'm like
Yeah.
especially at red lights, I'll just be like, ooh.
Yeah,
ooh.
nice. Actually, on this last trip that I did to Gold Coast and Byron Bay and all of that, it was great to have a car because most of my last couple of trips in Europe have been very international in the sense that most of my friends have been Nepali or from the Netherlands. So even though they like reggaeton, it won't be every reggaeton
Right.
song. And after 3 reggaeton songs, their
They're
resistance
tired.
is
Yeah.
out. Like the
Yeah.
But this time I was with some Spanish and Brazilian people, and they actually just enjoy it a lot. So this urge for dancing all of the time was actually
Yeah.
quite enjoyable. Yeah, but in Colombia, I don't know. I feel like, actually, funny enough, there's a couple of videos because I met one of my friends from school. So he's 1 year older than me, but for some reason he ended up doing like an internship at the UN here in Australia. And I haven't seen him for at least 2 years or 3 years. I don't know, probably since I left Colombia, so almost 5. And for some reason he was doing it here. It was an insane coincidence. It was super funny. But we also ended up going for a trip with him, and he was driving, so it was me and him in the front and 2 Spanish friends on the back. It was blasting salsa for like 3 hours nonstop. And it was so nice. It was exactly the kind of road trips I enjoy. But yeah, I don't know. I used to think this addiction for music and dancing wasn't just a matter of our culture, but it was just a human thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm starting to think that there's definitely a
Yeah.
strong cultural.
Yeah. I don't know how people
there.
can just not do that. Like, I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just like so deeply ingrained into me. And I think it's also just our, I don't know. I feel like our music is like especially danceable.
It's excessively
Yeah.
rhythmical. So whether you like it or not, if you have been listening to it since you were like 3, and there's this meme that is going around, and it's very relatable, of a core memory for a Latina is like when your parents were partying and you were a baby and they would just leave you between 2 chairs, sleeping, and, like with a blazer on top of you, and you would easily sleep with music blasting on the background.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that must do something to your brain. If you literally
100%.
which
I
is-
think
Wh-
I
what's it-
was
wh-
born literally.
No,
like
literally.
my mom was when my mom was pregnant with me. Like I'm pretty sure when I was born, like my mom and dad were at like a party or something like that, and then it was like immediately after, like my mom wanted to labor. Like I must have been like, get me out there, like
No,
put me
literally.
in.
Yeah, exactly. You were born to dance, literally.
Literally. No, yeah, I feel like that's like it's mind-boggling to me. Like, how can we pull up to a club or like a concert and it's like head bobs? You know what I mean?
That's
Like,
so lame.
Or even more insane, because here at least clubs, there's some kind of dancing. There's not dancing, but there's some kind of dancing. But in Vienna, to a lot that I've been, people will much rather, like, they're going crazy, like, their crazy night out will be talking, like, drinking a lot of beer and just playing the music lower than people's voice so that they can speak, and just
Bruh.
talking till like 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. And I'm like,
yeah.
at that point, just meet at the university and talk. I don't know.
Right.
Why would
Yeah.
you do that on a party?
Yeah. I don't know. I don't get that.
Yeah,
It's
that
fair.
was. I feel like that was a bit of a shock to me, like
Mhm.
going out culture, because I
Yeah.
feel like when I go out to hang out with my friends and dance,
Right.
predominantly to dance.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So when it felt like that was not actually like the emphasis, like a lot of these places are not really built with that in mind.
Right.
It was like, whoa.
But is it the same in Florida? Like, given
Yeah, I
In
would.
Florida, we dance.
We
Yeah.
dance, but it's like, I'm sorry, like the music isn't that good. Maybe it's,
What?
I don't know.
At our functions?
Oh
though?
no. Okay.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I also
But,
feel
like,
like
we
Florida
also-
has a lot more of a queer, like,
Mm-hmm.
kind
Well,
of
there's
emphasis.
there's queer presence here, but like I feel like over there, I don't know. I was talking about like more like Southern Nights, but like an actual club that you go to. I feel like the music is all right, you know.
Well, yeah, but that's because it's like, you know,
What?
I don't know, like Taylor Swift.
Yeah,
or
exactly.
stuff.
But like,
But that's like their target audience, I feel like. Because I
know.
like, if I wanted to go to like a gay club here, I wouldn't even have one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't want to polarize the audience or anybody listening, but I am very surprised how much they enjoy musets.
Mm.
Yeah.
I truly cannot. Like, I've tried, and
Right.
for the most part, I'll think that I'll get out whatever I put into the party. Right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Oh yeah.
But-
No, I think it was funny because for reggaeton night, I was there for like a solid like 2 hours before you guys got there,
Yeah.
and there were like no hate, no shame to the Australians, you know, like the non-Latinos, but like they were just like fist bumping to reggaeton, and I'm like, whoa, that's crazy. And then like it was just there was such a notable difference before you guys came and after, because you guys came in like a pretty big group, I would say.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
And,
then
pretty late in the night, because like island time.
right.
Right.
Yeah. Um
No, but also something that I've started to change a little bit is back in Colombia, if you would go like to a club or something and you would see a couple of people from other countries, from Europe, gringos, I hope it's not offensive to anybody, but the first idea would be like, oh, look at them, they really don't know how to dance,
Yeah.
and it would be like,
but
oh
like
my
nobody
God,
taught
right?
them, you know, like I
No,
understand.
exactly.
Yeah.
But with time, I started just appreciating like the effort.
Mhm.
Like when I see
Right.
anybody just trying to enjoy it, whether it looks aesthetic or not, I just really, really like it. Like it gets me even more in the mood to see people just trying and
Mhm.
enjoying it.
Right.
That's even better than people that are very experienced and are just looking for the attention or like,
yeah.
I dance so well.
Mhm.
No, I prefer like more Like what I can connect with is the emotion more than
Right.
actually how it looks.
Yeah. And you were out there like you were like screaming, like literally like bending over to like sing the lyrics. You're like, "Rah!" And I was like, yeah, no, I'm telling you, there was like such a notable difference. And I feel like everyone just like, I feel like also, you know, it started filling up too.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it felt like, I mean, this happens all the time, I think, at every club, but like, you know, it got a little bit later, a lot more people were there. And I was just like, yeah, okay, we're locking in, you know. And I was so tired the next day. I don't, oh my God, I danced so much.
Yeah, and that was my chill version, by the way.
Yeah, no, I bet. Yeah, I feel like I didn't go 100% either. That's why. Are you guys going to the next one?
I don't know. I have to check with the midterms and everything.
I swear to God, I have asked 2 people already, and they're like, I don't know. And I'm like, are you serious?
The night that they put it on, there's also so many things happening that night. Which
we
is
have
really
to email
unfortunate.
Fiction and be like, hey, you're losing a lot of your audience here. Isn't it a Friday? Yeah, they usually do it on Saturdays, no? And then they made it a Friday, I think.
I don't remember when it was.
Whatever.
No, the thing is, I also don't have that massive of a craving for a Latino party in Australia, because also the last couple of weeks when I was in Cairns and Golden Coast, there were their own attempt for a Latino party.
Mm-hmm.
And it was fun. Actually, surprisingly good taste in music. They played it well. But sometimes if you don't go with a big enough group, it might not be the same, because some people might be there for other kind of reasons, like hooking up and other things. But yeah, at this point, like, I enjoyed the Latino or the reggaeton night in Fiction. But if I missed it, I won't mind like partying or doing a pre-drinks with you guys. And then
right. I never get invited to the little... What?
Because you live
You just
away.
have to pull up.
Yeah.
No, but you guys need to tell me. I can't just be there all the time.
So
I
haven't been... to be fair, I haven't really been going out.
Yeah, honestly, we haven't done like real pre-drinks
I
or
need
anything.
to be contacted.
Right, fair
I
enough.
need to be emailed.
I know, but what I'm saying is I'm not going to be like, hey, Isa, there's pre-drinks happening, and then just like stay in my room. Like, you go.
You can go.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, should we go to a song?
For sure.
Yes. So...
Yeah, we can play that.
Yeah.
That beauty.
Yeah. So do you want to introduce it?
Sure. So this song is probably one of the most iconic ones from Colombia. In most videos that really want to sound Colombian, they'll play this one. It's cumbia, which is a very typical kind of genre from Colombia. Other countries in Latin America have their own version, like Argentina is very known for it, but cumbia comes strongly from the relationship of Latinos in with like when the Africans and that period of time develop certain like genres. Cumbia is strongly influenced by it. So this one, Toto La Momposina, is like one of the most influential artists, especially culturally. And the song just talks about like, it literally translates into I am cumbia, which is like just the influence it has in our blood and in who we are. So enjoy it. So as you can see, that's a very beautiful song that is extremely rhythmical, and probably you can sense the different influences from different places, strongly from Africa, definitely. Sadly, this is not usually what you will hear in the clubs. You'll probably hear more new stuff like reggaeton, bachata, and other things that are very enjoyable, but that are a bit more polemic in the messages that they have and the probably connotations that they have in our culture, which has brought some problems and some good things to our culture, but mostly some I don't know, things that have been difficult to change with time, which is, for example, what it means to be a girl in a party or in a club in Colombia. That's for a lot of girls that have been living that through their whole life, and I've spoken with them. I'm not one, so I cannot say for sure, but they have sort of normalized certain dynamics with men and like what it means to accept a guy that wants to dance with you, or what it means, a guy inviting you a drink or whatever. But this becomes especially tricky when you go out, because like out of the country, because when I went to Europe or something like that, I had normalized a lot, for example, dancing with a girl, just inviting a girl to dance with whom I didn't necessarily wanted to have anything, but just I just wanted to dance. And apparently that's not the perception everywhere. And I hope I do it well. I hope when I dance with a girl, she feels entirely comfortable, and that's what I aim for. But it's not always the case. And especially in the clubs of Colombia, when you have, I mean, the only thing I can feel is empathy for the women I care about and I love, because I have a very different experience as a man. But it's just very overwhelming to go as a woman if you're not used to that kind of dynamics. Like, I heard of a German friend that went to Colombia for a while, and she went, of course, clubbing and everything, but she really didn't love the experience, of course, because for whatever good things it might bring to have that freedom of just dancing with a person and enjoying a beautiful connection in those moments, there has to be a lot of comfortability for that to happen, and there's not always. So I don't know how it has been for you girls in Florida, or how it is when you visit home, but yeah, that's a constant fear I have when, for example, when I had my girlfriend back home, when she would go out, and I would just be fearful that it's not just a matter of her saying no, it's also a matter of dudes like accepting it and being respectful of her decision.
Yeah, I feel like reggaeton especially has made it's weird. It's like it's a lot of men that are dominating that genre of music, and I feel like the way that they speak about women, and the way that like the whole narrative in those songs kind of plays out, it can be really, really difficult for people to know like what's okay, what's not, know, what's consensual, what's not. And yeah, I think it's very, very, it's like weird, because obviously like I feel like in those moments when you're dancing, like maybe you want to be hearing that stuff, and maybe you want to like be dancing a specific way, but obviously there's still like a foundational consent to dance, consent to do certain things. And I feel like not having, I mean, there is more women kind of entering that sphere and kind of taking power over like their own narrative, but for the most part it's still like very objectifying, sometimes very misogynistic, but yeah.
And there has been an interesting movement, even people like Bad Bunny has tried to help towards it, which is more like not necessarily entirely changing the genres, but giving simply more power to the women, so that a girl can dance by herself a whole party and nobody should bother her.
Yeah.
And funny enough, actually, a lot of friends that I know from Colombia or Spain that have been very in contact with this type of parties, then they go out and no guys would take them to dance because they're not used to it. Or like if you go to Germany, no guy is going to be like, can we dance? And at that point, they're like, it has been so normalized, the fact of being bothered by dudes while partying, that at this point they're like, why is it not happening? But it's definitely not everybody's case, but there's definitely a good part to it. Like I for once love dancing, and some of my best memories are dancing with somebody that I like, or just even with friends, with dudes.
Right, yeah.
But yeah, there's a problem of how undefined it is, or like how the boundaries are so abstract, that makes it so much more complex to deal with.
Yeah, I also think that like in a way, it's even when women sing about it, like you have to kind of think like, okay, is this like empowerment? Like is like is if someone like talking about themselves a certain way, like them just like taking charge and like them feeling empowered and like confident and whatever, or does it also kind of feed into the narrative that a lot of men are pushing, which is again like, oh my god, like like just very objectifying, or I don't know, like putting like the man as like the I don't know, like
No, it's
el alpha. I don't know.
yeah, like I do think that those dynamics are for the most part very harmful.
Mm-hmm.
Though they have been, like, we've been so brainwashed that at this point something different seems very off. Like, if it would be, I don't know how what alternative there would be for it to still work as reggaeton, as this forbidden fruit, as this like purely passionate thing, and yet not necessarily give more power to one.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know. I think that the first priority is simply to, like, make everybody feel as comfortable as they want. Like, actually, even to me, it happened a couple of weeks back that a girl invited me to dance. And as I tell you, I don't mind dancing with anybody, whether I want something or not. I love dancing. She was from Chile and everything. She definitely didn't mind. Like, she didn't think too much about whatever boundaries I could have had. And it's fair. I mean, like, usually with a man, you don't think that there should be any trouble about what you can or not do. Eventually, she was like, she just went for the kiss. Like, she asked me if she could, and I was like, I don't feel like it right now, and she still went.
Oh.
And
damn.
Like, it didn't truly affect me mentally, but it definitely brings you to the point of, it must be awful that this happens so often to girls. Like,
right. And even if it's, like, regardless of gender, I feel like, you know, if you are not comfortable with something, then it should not happen.
It's still wrong for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like, I mean, and this isn't just in terms of music. I feel like all kinds of media, not just in Latin America, but everywhere, kind of push certain expectations or whatever, and they are harmful to both sides. Maybe, like, not in an equal way. Maybe it might impact one more than the other, but I still think it's bad for everyone.
Yeah.
I also feel like with men as well, like, I don't know. I mean, I appreciate how you're like, oh, like, it makes you think about kind of how often this must happen to women and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I also feel like downplaying this kind of thing when it happens to men also, like, makes it worse, because I do think that men have a lot of stigmas associated with, like, being, like, weak or, like, showing some sort of vulnerability, or, you know what I mean?
Or not wanting to be that, like, macho, like, type person, you know? Yeah. I don't know. I think anything that puts you in a box is not cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. But I think that despite things having a bit of a downside and stuff like that, I think that there's still a lot of good things about Latin culture. Yeah.
I feel very hopeful about the recent changes that I've seen. Like, a lot of people are really trying to be more decent towards other people around them. Men, like, at least my friends, the ones that I know, are definitely very aware of like, how to make comfortable people and how simply not to cross any boundaries that are not meant to be crossed. So I'm very hopeful. I don't know if it's because I'm an idealist, but I've seen a change slowly. So.
Yeah, and I feel like, I don't know, especially as, you know, women, and not just women, but, like, non-binary people, trans people, whatever, I feel like as more people have, like, a position to speak, then I think things will slowly level out. There's going to be more perspectives being shown, and I think that's how we're going to slowly reach something that's more comfortable, that's more appropriate, whatever the term may be. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, like, how, because again, I feel like I lived in Weston, which there were so many Venezuelan people in Weston that they called it Westonzuela.
Yeah.
And I feel like the people that live there are all, like, Venezuelan for sure, but it's a very specific type of Venezuelan, and it's a lot of, like, I'm not going to say older people, but yeah, it's typically people with, like, families and, like, spouses and whatever. And I feel like, you know, when you're older, not just in Latin America, but, like, in everywhere, like, you're going to have different views than people that are younger. Yeah. And I feel like I've only been exposed to, like, the older perspective. How are things in Latin America now from, like, the younger person's perspective?
Yeah. Even from my side, I don't know, probably Maya has quite a bit to say about this, but what I've seen with my friends is it's even like there's even more of a pushing force towards progress than even in Europe, because we're so behind. So there has to be a bigger even an even bigger effort. So yeah, I have quite a couple of queer friends that have struggled with how the stigmas are in Colombia and in Latin America, but they've seen a change and they've made that change. Like they're the ones that are pushing that. And I can only respect that. Like, I honestly, it makes me feel very hopeful. So,
yeah, I will say, I feel like as I don't know, maybe getting older, getting a little more immersed in my cultural heritage and stuff, like the music that we see coming up now that's gaining popularity and the movements that we're seeing, I think really are starting to push towards that change that we want to see, like the new artists that are coming out and all of this type of stuff. I'm seeing a lot of different types of representation, a lot of experimental genres, and a lot of songs that have content like about, you know, things like bodily autonomy and stuff like that. Like I think is something that I'm very proud to like be a part of.
For sure.